Janelle Brown has always been known as the logical, level-headed foundation of the Sister Wives family, but it seems she has been keeping a massive secret that is finally coming to light. For a long time, fans have watched her navigate the heartbreaking collapse of her previous life. But right now, Janelle appears to have entered an entirely new, incredibly private chapter. This isn't simply another dating update or a fleeting rumor. This is about a woman who fans have loved for years, completely transforming her world. Social media and TikTok have been exploding with exclusive theories about a mysterious new man named Pete. Who exactly is this man? How long has this quiet connection been developing behind the scenes? And why did Janelle choose to keep him completely away from the glaring lights of the public eye? After years of emotional upheaval and public heartbreak, Janelle may have finally found something she wasn't even looking for: peace, privacy, and a completely different kind of love. Before we dive into the deep end of this incredible new chapter and uncover everything TikTok and social media are buzzing about, I need you to do a quick favor. If you love staying up to date on all things Sister Wives and want the real stories behind the rumors, hit that like button right now and subscribe to the SW Daily. We bring you the best, most in-depth coverage of your favorite TLC stars every single week, and you will not want to miss what we have coming up next. Make sure your notifications are turned on so you never miss an update. To really understand why this potential new romance is shaking up the Sister Wives universe, we have to look back at the woman fans have watched completely rebuild her life from the ground up. When Janelle walked away from her plural marriage, she didn't just leave a relationship. She left an entire, structured way of living that had defined her for decades. Viewers watched her move through a major personal transition, stepping out of the shadows of constant family drama and stepping into her own power. The focus shifted away from the bitter arguments and the endless division of property, and instead, we saw Janelle prioritizing her own independence. She threw herself into her family, her children, her work, and her future. We watched her figure out her housing, secure her finances, and embrace a life where she was the only one calling the shots. Because fans witnessed every agonizing step of that journey, they became deeply emotionally invested in her happiness. Janelle's story was no longer about fixing a broken marriage. It was about a woman becoming entirely comfortable with herself, on her own terms. And that is exactly why the timing this new relationship makes the story so incredibly surprising. This romance feels entirely different from anything we are used to seeing in the reality television world. So often, when a reality star goes through a massive public breakup, they immediately jump into a new relationship, almost as a way to prove that they have moved on. But Janelle didn't do that. She didn't rush. That long period of fierce independence makes this new chapter feel incredibly deliberate. There is a massive difference between searching desperately for love to fill a void and simply living your life so fully that love is allowed to arrive naturally. Based on the buzzing social media theories, this relationship isn't a rebound. It is something that developed only after Janelle had firmly established her own independent identity. She wasn't trying to replace her past. She was actively building a beautiful life completely beyond it. And then, unexpectedly, someone walked right into that new life. For longtime viewers, this relationship feels earned because Janelle's story has so clearly been about healing first and romance second. Enter Pete. According to the exclusive theories trending across TikTok and fan forums, Pete is the man now associated with this completely unexpected chapter of Janelle's life. While we have to navigate these social media rumors carefully, the details floating around paint a very specific picture of who he is. He is described by internet sleuths as hardworking, grounded, incredibly supportive, and above all else, deeply private. He seems to exude a calm energy that is the absolute polar opposite of the intense, chaotic, and loud public conflicts viewers became so accustomed to seeing in Janelle's past. We aren't saying Pete is perfect, and nobody can guarantee that any relationship will last forever. But from what the online whispers suggest, Pete appears to represent a much quieter, gentler chapter of her life. He isn't looking for reality TV fame, and he isn't trying to be the center of attention. He just wants to be there for Janelle, which brings us to perhaps the most interesting part of this entire story. Why did Janelle keep it so private? Reality television personalities usually have very little privacy. Their lives, their arguments, and their milestones are entirely monetized and broadcast for the world to judge. So Janelle's apparent decision to keep the details of this romance away from the cameras and the public eye makes this story deeply intriguing. Privacy, especially for someone who has lived on television for over a decade, is a profound form of emotional protection. She likely wanted this connection to develop naturally, organically, and safely before exposing it to the harsh opinions of the internet or the pressures of a television production schedule. Keeping a relationship secret doesn't mean something is wrong or that there is something to hide. In this case, it seems to mean that the people involved fiercely value their boundaries. It really makes you wonder, was Janelle finally learning to protect her happiness before sharing it with the world? This transition brings us to the true emotional centerpiece of this entire situation, the monumental shift from merely surviving to actually thriving. When you look at the stark contrast between Janelle's earlier struggles on television and the apparent radiant peace of her current chapter, it is honestly staggering. For years, we saw her in survival mode. We saw her trying to keep the peace, trying to rationalize irrational behavior, and simply trying to get through increasingly difficult and emotionally draining periods. But there is a massive psychological difference between just getting through a difficult period and genuinely creating a happier, healthier life. Janelle's story can really be broken down into an incredible evolution of loss, followed by fierce independence, deep healing, genuine self-discovery, and finally, unexpected love. But let us make one thing absolutely clear. This new relationship is not the only reason for her happiness. Her personal growth and her joy happened long before and alongside this new romance. The real transformation isn't that Janelle found someone, it's that she first found herself. That brings us to the "I wasn't even looking for love" angle, which is something that has captured the hearts of everyone following these social media theories. There is a universal appeal to unexpected relationships. Sometimes the most beautiful connections happen when people completely stop searching for a partner and instead pour all of their energy into creating a fulfilling, vibrant life for themselves. When you do that, an eventual relationship feels less like a rescue mission and much more like a beautiful addition to an already established, successful life. Janelle didn't need rescuing. She had already built her sanctuary. And I want to ask you guys watching right now, have you ever experienced an unexpected relationship arriving at the exact right moment, right when you stopped looking? Let me know down in the comments, because this specific detail turns Janelle's story from basic celebrity gossip into a deeply relatable, emotional journey that so many of us can connect with. This unexpected romance also highlights Janelle's completely new set of boundaries. Her sudden veil of privacy strongly demonstrates just how much personal growth she has achieved. After years of having every single personal, financial, and family matter dissected and discussed publicly on national television, she now appears incredibly selective about what she shares with the world. She is actively protecting her personal happiness. She is controlling her own narrative, which is something she was rarely allowed to do in the past. By keeping this romance away from unnecessary public pressure, she is not only protecting her own heart, but she is allowing a new partner to have privacy too. The woman who once had almost every part of her family life examined publicly now seems much more intentional about what belongs to the audience and what belongs only to her. This is exactly why longtime fans are so incredibly emotional about this news. Longtime Sister Wives viewers didn't simply tune in to watch Janelle's relationship history unfolds. We watched her become a mother. We watched her navigate the complex trials of being a sister wife. We saw her blossom into an independent businesswoman, and eventually, we witnessed her brave journey of walking away and rebuilding her life from scratch. Because we have been on this ride with her for well over a decade, a new romantic chapter feels deeply personal to longtime viewers. If you scroll through TikTok and the latest fan pages, you will see an absolute flood of positive comments, blessings, congratulations, and overwhelming excitement surrounding this rumor. Fans aren't merely celebrating a new boyfriend, they're celebrating everything that this relationship symbolizes: pure happiness, absolute freedom, profound healing, and a genuine fresh beginning. And you cannot talk about Janelle's healing and fresh beginning without bringing Christine and the inner circle connection into the conversation. Social media sleuths have been closely analyzing the subtle hints of support coming from Janelle's closest friends, specifically Christine. While we are piecing together the TikTok theories, Christine's reaction and presence in Janelle's life right now matter on such a deep emotional level. Both of these incredible women experienced massive, life-altering changes after leaving their previous, oppressive relationship structure. They walked away from the only life they knew, and they did it leaning on each other. Their unbreakable friendship makes this story is even more meaningful to longtime viewers. We watched Christine find her own happily ever after, and now, to see the internet buzzing with theories that Janelle is finding hers, it feels like the ultimate poetic justice for the two women who truly carried the emotional weight of that family for years. In the eyes of the fans, Pete has become much more than just a rumored boyfriend. This chapter is more emotional than factual at this point, and nobody is claiming that Pete came in and saved Janelle. Instead, he represents the beautiful possibility of a calm, drama-free relationship. Just look at the massive contrast. In the past, Janelle was subjected to complicated family dynamics, exhausting and difficult conversations, and relentless public scrutiny. Her present reality, according to these viral online theories, is filled with privacy, quiet companionship, genuine affection, and a seemingly peaceful life. For fans, Pete isn't interesting simply because he's Janelle's new partner. He's interesting because of what this relationship appears to represent: true peace after years of deafening emotional noise. Janelle's rumored relationship is actually so much bigger than just one single romance, because it fundamentally contributes to the massive evolution of the entire Sister Wives franchise story. Think about it for a second. The show's narrative has entirely shifted from what it was a decade ago. It is no longer a documentary-style look into the mechanics of plural marriage. Instead, the storyline has increasingly shifted toward these individual women building lives completely outside of their former, highly restrictive relationship structure. We watched Christine pave the way with her new marriage, demonstrating one version of starting over. And now, Janelle's potential romantic chapter demonstrates a completely different, incredibly private version of life after polygamy. This creates a massive new question for the future of the franchise itself. What happens when these women are no longer defined by their relationship with Kody? The focus has shifted completely from the patriarch to the matriarchs, and fans are absolutely here for it. It redefines what Sister Wives even means moving forward, proving that there is incredibly compelling television in watching women simply thrive on their own terms. This brings us to the major inspirational takeaway from Janelle's current era: the absolute empowerment of choosing yourself. Leaving an unfulfilling, emotionally draining chapter doesn't mean your story is over. In fact, it often means the best parts of your life are just beginning. But what Janelle showed us is that sometimes fierce independence must come before happiness. Her journey can be perfectly framed around the idea that people don't need to rush blindly into their next chapter just to prove to their ex that they are doing well. Healing can take a lot of time. Being alone can be incredibly productive, insightful, and necessary. She put in the hard work on herself first. She figured out who Janelle is without Kody, without the Sister Wives, and without the chaos. And eventually, a new relationship can become a beautiful part of a life that already works perfectly well on its own. The core message of Janelle's evolution is incredibly powerful. Choosing yourself doesn't mean choosing loneliness. Sometimes it means creating a life where the right person can eventually join you when the time is absolutely right. Of course, because we are all so heavily invested in her happiness, this incredible new chapter leaves us with a mountain of burning questions. As these exclusive TikTok theories continue to swirl and dominate social media, this is what fans desperately want to know next. How long have Janelle and Pete actually been together? How did they even cross paths in the first place? When did this quiet connection transition into a serious relationship? And looking ahead to the future of the show, will fans ever get to see more of Pete? Will he make an appearance on the upcoming seasons of Sister Wives? Or will Janelle keep him entirely off camera to protect their peace? Furthermore, how does Janelle's massive family, especially her fiercely protective children, feel about the relationship? Are they as supportive as we hope? Will Janelle ever share more personal moments publicly? And could this deeply private relationship eventually lead to marriage? These are the questions keeping the fandom awake at night, eagerly waiting for the next breadcrumb of information. But before we get too carried away, as a channel that deeply values bringing you the truth, we need to draw a hard line between what we actually know versus what fans are merely speculating. This is what separates facts from the wild world of internet gossip, and it is crucial for protecting the reality of Janelle's situation. What is actually known, based on confirmed statements, Janelle's own social media posts, her recent interviews, and reputable reporting, is that she is absolutely thriving. She is focusing heavily on her health, her fitness journey, her children, and her independent business ventures. She is undeniably happier. What remains entirely unclear is the exact timeline of any new romance, what her future plans hold, and whether Pete will ever become a regular part of the Sister Wives television franchise. Until Janelle explicitly confirms it herself, any talk of marriage, moving in together, or long-term commitments is strictly speculation. By keeping these TikTok theories clearly labeled as speculation, we can enjoy the excitement without turning fan theories into confirmed news. We want to celebrate her journey while still deeply respecting the boundaries she has so clearly put in place for her own mental health. That brings us right back to the emotional payoff of this entire situation. We have to remember that the biggest story here isn't simply Janelle has a boyfriend. The much deeper, far more resonant story is the breathtaking personal transformation behind the relationship. She experienced a major, earth-shattering life change that played out for millions of people to judge. She spent a significant amount of time quietly rebuilding her foundation when the cameras were off. She established absolute independence. She fiercely protected her privacy and guarded her peace. And eventually, when she was entirely ready, love appeared to find her. Maybe the most beautiful part of Janelle Brown's story isn't just that she found love again. It's that she discovered she could build a profoundly beautiful, fulfilling life completely on her own. And then, only then, did she decide to let someone special become a part of it. So after everything Janelle has been through, from the heartbreak to the healing and now to this beautiful new era, do you think this is the happiest chapter of her life yet? And if the rumors about Pete are completely true, would you like to see more of him on Sister Wives? Or do you hope Janelle keeps this relationship entirely off-screen to protect her peace? Let us know what you think down in the comments. We love reading your theories and opinions. And if you want more exclusive updates on Janelle, Christine, and the ever-changing, dramatic world of Sister Wives, make sure you hit that subscribe button, leave a massive like on this video, and stay tuned to Jenny Exposure. We have so much more coming your way, and you won't want to miss it.